Hey everybody, it's me again. I'm sure you're probably sick of seeing my face in all these vlog posts, but definitely want to make sure I got in this week's Sweat Pink Ambassadors vlog question, which is if you're the racing type, which if you follow my blog at all, you know that I am, what's your favorite distance and why? Now, this is kind of a tricky question because obviously I do a lot of different sports, and so to summarize kind of overall, I'm definitely more of a distance person than a sprinter. I just naturally have, my muscles are not, I don't have those fast twitch muscles that you need to have to be a sprinter. I'm definitely more of that, get up to a speed, maintain it, and hold that for the duration of the distance. So as a swimmer, I was definitely a distance swimmer. I also did a lot of fly, especially when I was younger. Anything that required where I could swim without breathing, breathe on the wall. But once the distances got longer for butterfly, obviously that became a problem. Did a lot of backstroke as well. Could have been a great IMer if I had a breaststroke, but I didn't. So I specialized in the 500, the mile, things like that. I really wanted to do open water swimming, but living in Ohio wasn't a lot of options there. There was Lake Erie, but that was quite a bit of a drive, and there wasn't really a team format around that. So definitely something that I think I could have done really well with, but didn't have the opportunity. Now, when we moved to other sports, so if we look at running, I'd say so far, and just from reading things and knowing myself, I think my favorite distance would be the half marathon. I like 5Ks just because they're short, easy, you can do them with friends, and they're a lot of fun. I've only done one official 10K race, but hated it. I think there's a combination of factors in that, but for me, I think it's that middle distance where I can't hold a sprint that long, but it's not long enough to really get in a rhythm like a half marathon. And so that's why I really think the half marathon for me, it's kind of that perfect distance. I can get in a rhythm, I can do one really with minimal training, whereas a marathon, I think I would like distance wise, but it requires a lot of training, a lot of time, and a lot of commitment to do a marathon, which isn't something I necessarily want to do when I want to still be involved with other sports. And I think doing the marathon kind of limits what else you can do, and I like to be active in a variety of different things. So then we moved to biking, and again, I kind of have some different feelings here. If we're talking on the road, definitely I love the Century. I feel like I really am getting going around mile 80, whereas other people start to fade. I really start to feel strong here and really enjoy Centuries because it's a long enough, but it's not too long that you just feel like, ugh, when's this gonna end type of thing. But again, a lot depends on the terrain and things like that. I've done a 60 mile that was much harder than a 100 mile, so really depends there. But on the road, I would say overall a Century would be my ideal distance. But again, that's not really racing, so take that with a grain of salt. In terms of mountain bike racing, I've only done the cross country racing, which it can vary between roughly an hour to 2 hours. It's so many times around, usually maybe a 4 or 5 mile loop. You do it a couple times, depending on what category you're in, you do it more times. And I'm in a lower category, so I don't have to do it as much. And I think that's fun. However, what I'd really like to do and what I think would be my strength is more of the endurance type mountain bike races, which are either the 12-hour type thing I think would be good for me. I think the 6 might be a little short. The 24, again, might be a little long just in training time and time for other things. So the 12-hour type endurance or more like the 50, 100-mile epic rides. Love to do Leadville one day. That's definitely on the bucket list of things. So again, it depends on the sport, but the overarching thing I would say is I kind of like that long distance, but not the farthest distance for a sport where that has to be your life and you can't really do other sports outside of it when you're training. Triathlon, I think the half Ironman distance would be a good distance for me. Ideally, I'd love to do a full Ironman, but again, training time for that one. And lastly, I guess it's not really, it's a little different, but in archery so far, I think my favorite distance would probably be the 50 meter. I've shot both at the 18, which is the indoor 30 and 50, and I haven't competed yet at that at any of the outdoors, the 30, 50, or 70. But initially, just shooting in the yard, I would say 50. I'm a pretty big fan of. So we'll see what happens with that this year and how I do. So love to hear what your favorite distances are for your sports that you do, and I'll see you next week.